Are you thinking about moving to Chattanooga, Tennessee in 2026? Well, before you pack your bags, there are a few things you need to know that could make or break your decision. In this video, we are going to break down the cost of living, what's actually going to affect your wallet at the end of the day. We're going to go over the best neighborhoods for your lifestyle and your budget, great neighborhoods for families, great neighborhoods for young professionals, great neighborhoods for retirees. And we're also going to go over the hidden downsides that most people overlook. So stick around, it's going to be a fun one. So number one, Chattanooga is becoming a relocation hotspot for many people around the country. We see a lot of people moving from the Northeast, from New York, Chicago, and even down south from Florida, then of course out west like Texas, California, Arizona. And some of the top reasons why people are leaving the big cities for Chattanooga is its lower cost of living. Its outdoor lifestyle with its mountains, rivers, lakes, all of the outdoor activities that this region provides. It's also in a very central location where you have 3 or 4 major cities within a 2.5-hour radius. And one of my favorite qualities of this place, which a lot of people are catching on to, is its slower pace of life. Everything is just a little bit more relaxed here. No one's in a big rush. No one's trying to run you over in order to get to their next spot. So guys, if you have not figured it out already, I am a licensed realtor here in Tennessee and Georgia. So as much as I love making these videos, I love more to help you guys with your real estate needs. So if you are looking to move to the area, feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below, and I'd be absolutely happy to hear from you guys. So let's go over cost of living first. Likely the biggest thing that's going to affect your wallet is housing prices, whether you are looking to purchase or rent. Now, the median home price for all of Hamilton County is $420,000. Now, Hamilton County consists of a few different areas, Chattanooga proper, of course, but also the surrounding towns like East Brainerd, Ottawa, East Ridge, Red Bank, Hickson, and Soddy Daisy. So $420,000 for your home. Let's compare that to other surrounding major cities. Compared to Nashville, Nashville's median home price is $540,000. Compared to Atlanta, Atlanta's median home price is $370,000. So Chattanooga is slightly more expensive than Atlanta. And compared to Knoxville, Knoxville is also at $420,000. Now, what exactly will a $100,000 salary get you compared to other major cities around the country? So the first city we'll compare it to is Tampa. If you're moving from Tampa to Chattanooga and you're making $100,000 per year, you would only need to make around $88,000 per year in Chattanooga to live that same lifestyle. So altogether, Chattanooga is around 11% more affordable than Tampa. If you're moving from a place like Phoenix, Arizona, in order to sustain a similar lifestyle here in Chattanooga, you'd only need to make $86,288. So Chattanooga is 13.7% more affordable than Phoenix. One of the bigger perks about living in Chattanooga are the lower utility costs. And one of the biggest reasons is because of the Tennessee Valley Authority. TVA is one of the main energy providers for this region, and they offer very competitive rates. And when you combine that with the lower cost of living in general, utility costs just tend to be lower depending on where exactly you're coming from. EPB is also one of the main electricity providers for the area, and they're also responsible for that gig speed internet that Chattanooga is so famous for. I've also seen that the average cost of water tends to be a little bit cheaper, more affordable than places like out west, Arizona, California, Nevada, well, because you're in a desert out there and that resource is sometimes hard to come by. Out here, you're gonna be looking at an average of $15 to $35 per month, depending on what amenities your home has. If you have a pool, if you have a hot tub, or if you have irrigation, obviously that's going to affect the cost. But on average, you're gonna be spending around $20 to $30 per month. Now, when it comes to taxes, I know not a super fun subject, which is great for Tennessee because we do not have a state income tax. We do, however, have a statewide sales tax of 7% and a county-dependent additional sales tax as well. So for Hamilton County, where Chattanooga is, we have an additional 2.25% sales tax. So altogether, you're gonna be paying 9.25% in sales tax. We also have some of the lowest property taxes in the nation. You're gonna be paying an effective rate of around 0.5 to 0.8% of the entire value of your home. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, if you have a $500,000 house, then you're likely going to be paying around $2,500 to $3,000 per year in property taxes. So here in Hamilton County, we basically have an effective rate of 0.5 to 0.8% of the entire home value. Now, of course, your property tax rate is going to be largely dependent on exactly where you're living in Chattanooga. In general, the closer you are to downtown Chattanooga, the higher your tax rate is going to be. And in many cases, if you're on the outskirts and you live in a more rural place, your tax rate will be significantly lower. So how are your property taxes created? Well, properties here in Hamilton County are reassessed every 4 years, and they're actually taking a percentage of your assessed value, which is going to be lower than your appraised value. And when properties are reassessed every 4 years, what do we know in general about real estate? Well, it's been going up. We've seen higher and higher values over the last several years. And you'd expect your property taxes to go up in parallel with it. However, the way that it works here is, although properties are reassessed every 4 years and we expect those assessments to go up, your property tax rate actually goes down. So just because your property value is going up, that does not necessarily mean that your property taxes are going to go up with it, which is amazing. Homeowners and auto insurance is very affordable here as well because we don't have that many natural disasters. Places along the coast like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, a lot of times those insurance prices are pretty extravagant because of the danger for natural disasters, hurricanes, flooding, that type of thing. You also have places like California that are more prone to fires, and so insurance is going to up their prices in order to cover that. Tennessee really doesn't have that many natural disasters. You know, one of the things that a lot of people have questions about is tornadoes. Chattanooga doesn't really get more tornadoes than anywhere else in the Southeast. In fact, the further west you go, the Cumberland Plateau towards Nashville, that's actually where tornadoes are a little bit more prevalent. The last tornado that came through here in Chattanooga was back in 2020, and although it did significant damage in the East Brainerd area, it didn't really affect many other areas in the city or the surrounding area. And again, that was 5 years ago, and we haven't really seen one since. Florida, for example, on the other hand, has been experiencing some crazy weather patterns in hurricane seasons, sometimes with multiple hurricanes per season, and it's driven those insurance prices through the roof. So as you can see, when we talk about cost of living, yes, home prices are a factor, and in general, Chattanooga has lower prices than a lot of other places in the country, but it's a compound effect, right? It's housing prices, it's insurance costs, it's property taxes that all play a factor on what's coming out of your wallet each month. So if you're coming from a place like Texas or California, where your home is $500,000, even if you did an even trade and spent $500,000 here in Chattanooga, you're still saving a lot more money on your property taxes and insurance alone. So what is up with Chattanooga's lifestyle and overall vibe? Well, this is a very nature-forward area, and there's a reason why they call this city the Boulder of the South and the Scenic City. It's because we have the best access to the outdoors in all of the Southeast. You can go rock climbing or a simple hike to Sunset Rock, paddleboarding along the Tennessee River through the city under the famous Blue Bridge. You can go boating and wake surf on Chickamauga Lake, and there are endless hiking opportunities where you can jump in a blue hole, hike along a creek, or view a waterfall. The city of Chattanooga literally sits at the base of the Cumberland Plateau, and so all you got to do is drive a few minutes and you are at your nearest hike. And then further along in the Cumberland Plateau, in the Cumberland Mountains, you have more waterfall opportunities. Then if you travel east, just about an hour or so, you're gonna hit the Appalachian Mountains. And if you drive a little bit further to the northeast, you'll hit Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and the Smoky Mountains, which is one of the most traveled destinations in all of the United States. And real quick, this is a little bit further, but you can also drive 6 hours down to 30A or the Destin area if you want to go on a weekend beach trip. When you factor in the geographic location close to all of these mountain ranges and all that those provide, including the major cities that Chattanooga is close to, you know, we're within 2.5 hours of Nashville, 2 hours of Atlanta, an hour and a half of Knoxville. This place is made for built-in day trips and weekend trips. You don't feel super landlocked because there are just so many things to do and places to go within a very short drive. Now, what is the downtown vibe all about? Well, it's walkable, it's trendy, it's artsy, especially in areas like North Shore and South Side. South Side is going to have most of your unique to Chattanooga restaurants and bars and things to do. North Shore is going to be slightly more suburban with your parks like Renaissance Park and Coolidge Park, and then coffee shops and restaurants spread throughout the area as well. Some of my local favorite restaurants include Little Coyote, Sidetrack, Easy Bistro, Main Street Meats, and even if you don't drink, I definitely suggest checking out Whiskey Thief, which is just a really cool, almost like cigar lounge vibe, and you have a really nice view of the bridge. Now, this applies to the areas within the city, but also when we expand out to the suburbs of Chattanooga as well, it's a really nice, close-knit community feel. Within the city itself, you have your farmers markets, you have your music festivals like Riverbend or Nightfall, and you also have Ironmans and triathlons or other marathons and races. It's a very active community, both socially and physically. Now, I want to do a quick rundown, a quick overview of some of the best neighborhoods based on your lifestyle. Now, we've already touched on these areas a little bit, but North Shore, South Side, and St. Elmo are going to be more of your downtown, urban, suburban vibe. It's super walkable and trendy, and you have your restaurants, bars, and coffee shops that you can just walk to. There's also going to be a bigger mix of condos and townhomes and lofts mixed in with single family. Places like St. Elmo or North Shore or Red Bank even, which is just north of North Shore, are going to be the more established parts of Chattanooga. So it's not uncommon to see a single family home that was built in the 1930s, 40s, 50s that still maintains a lot of the character that it had back when it was built. So if you want something historic or with character, you'll find a lot of opportunity in these areas. Signal Mountain is popular among two different groups. Number one, nature lovers who love access to hiking and the general outdoors, and then families who move there for the top-rated Signal Mountain schools. Here, you're going to find larger homes, more traditional neighborhoods, and lots of nature. And I'm gonna lump these three areas together: East Brainerd, Ooltewah, and Appleton. These areas are great for families, professionals, retirees who are looking for a little bit of a newer area with more modern, newer amenities. This has more of a suburban feel with great access to, the mall and those other amenities, and close access to I-75 to get downtown or wherever you're going. Going back to the north of the river, we've got Hickson, which is a mix between a little bit more affordable homes and lakefront homes and access to the lake. You do have the Northgate Mall area, which is going to be one of the main amenity centers. You have many diverse housing options with some of those historic home options mixed in with newer communities. Your access to downtown can be better because you don't have to hop on I-75 that runs into I-24 where you can sometimes hit traffic. Depending on where you live exactly in Hickson, sometimes you can hop on US 27, which connects you straight to downtown via a beautiful scenic highway. And you also have places like Cleveland, Tennessee, which a lot of times you can get a little bit more land and home for your money. When you guys reach out and you tell me you want a little bit more space, you want a garden, you want to do the homesteading lifestyle, you want a few animals, chickens, that type of thing, a lot of times I suggest Cleveland because there's just more opportunity out there. In a similar fashion, North Georgia, like Ringgold, Chickamauga, Fort Oglethorpe, those are also going to have similar options. Now, of course, the downside with moving to North Georgia is that you do have that state income tax. However, the home prices are typically a lot lower. You have slightly lower home prices, you have a more rural feel, and typically your money just goes a little bit further down in North Georgia. On the upside, you have all of the benefit of buying a more affordable home, but your access to Chattanooga is still great. Because Ringgold and Chickamauga are just below the Tennessee-Georgia border, one of the benefits is you actually sometimes get to avoid that I-75 traffic because there's not a ton of people traveling down south from Chattanooga during rush hour. Typically, the traffic is traveling east, west, west, east. If you're living in North Georgia, you can easily be within a 25-minute drive of Chattanooga and avoid a lot of the traffic. So you get all the benefits of buying a slightly cheaper home while not really sacrificing your access to downtown amenities. Now, the next point is schools and education. And if you don't have kids, don't necessarily skip this part. The reason it matters is because even if you don't have kids, schools still affect property values. Now, in general, Chattanooga is a very private and magnet school-driven city, with a very supportive homeschooling community as well. Now, according to places like niche.com and Great Schools, some of the better school districts and areas include Signal Mountain Schools, East Hamilton, Cleveland, and North Georgia. Now, I definitely suggest doing your research on the different private and magnet school opportunities, and specifically on the magnet schools, a lot of times they have enrollment opportunities by lottery. So it doesn't really matter where you live or which district you live in, there's still opportunity for your child to attend that magnet school. Now, some of the private school options you have include Baylor, McCallie, GPS, Silverdale Baptist, Collegedale Academy. There are a ton of different options when it comes to private school education. Now, when it comes to higher education, there are actually several options for colleges. Some of the main ones include University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, there's Chat State, there's Southern Adventist University, there's Covenant College, there's Lee University out in Cleveland, which allows for a very vibrant young professional scene. And like I said, this area is very homeschool friendly as well, with co-op opportunities. Now, when it comes to the job market and economy, a lot of people moving here and who live here actually do work remotely, and they're able to maintain their higher wage out in California, New York, Texas, Florida, wherever, and live here where the cost of living is slightly more affordable. But if you are worried about the sustainability of the city, there are several major employers, and this is a very big tech and logistics hub. A few of the major employers include a Volkswagen plant, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Unum, an Amazon distribution center, Tennessee Valley Authority, EPB, and there are several healthcare systems as well. And many of these industries are continuing to grow, especially those in tech and healthcare and logistics. Now, what are some of the challenges and downsides of living here in Chattanooga? Well, number one is traffic. Rapid city growth means more infrastructure being built on the highways, on the major roadways, and new construction communities throughout the outskirt areas. Now, that just means more congestion on I-24, I-75, and some of the other major roadways throughout the city. Now, compared to major cities like Atlanta, Dallas, Miami, the traffic comparison doesn't really exist. Chattanooga is still a relatively small city, so even if you are stuck in traffic, you're not going to be traveling a very far distance. Another thing to look out for when you're in the area are the neighborhood differences. Some areas are revitalized and some areas still look a little rough. So you just need to know where to buy and also look at the future growth of some of these neighborhoods. You'll also notice that different areas have little uniformity. For example, you can pass by a neighborhood where the average home price is around $300,000, and right next to it, they'll have $1 million home. In a similar fashion, a $3 million lake home can be across the street from a $500,000 home. Now, this is not all of Chattanooga, of course, but it is something to keep in mind. If you're not buying in a master planned community like Black Creek, you'll likely find in the more established areas of Chattanooga, especially think, Red Bank, Hickson, Soddy Daisy, that area, where you'll have a lot older homes where the average price point is a little bit lower, and you have newer, bigger homes where the average price point is significantly higher. It exists and you get used to it, but you need to be aware of it. Now, another aspect of the culture here that I highlight a ton is the slower, more relaxed pace all around. Now, this can be great on the roadways and traffic, and when you are on a walk and people smile and wave and are willing to talk with you. However, when we talk about slower pace, it's a slower pace all around. So if you need to get contract work done, like on your house or something like that, sometimes it can be hard to get people out to your house to give quotes or to actually do the work. On the bright side, people aren't in such a hurry to take your money, but it can be frustrating at times. So overall, Chattanooga is an absolutely incredible place to live, but it's not for everyone. But finding the right neighborhood makes all the difference. Again, guys, I am a licensed realtor here in Tennessee and Georgia, and I am the one answering those phone calls, emails, and texts. So feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below. As much as I love making these videos, I love more to help you guys with your real estate needs. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, comment down below, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.